Alright, family. I'm still in the fight mobile. Now, something just occurred to me. Everybody is excited about Ronda Rousey coming back. And I'm saying to myself, she's in no hurry to come back. And I don't blame her. If she just take her time, just relax, train, do all our other movie stuff, all our other exciting stuff, and just take it easy. When she comes back, she could renegotiate with Dana White for more money. Because I guarantee you, this time around, Conor McGregor, when he fights Nate Diaz, he's gonna get banged up. There's no doubt in my mind, he's gonna get banged up really bad. Really bad. Quite possibly a concussion and then a 6-month suspension. And Ronda Rousey, I haven't seen her in any training camp. I know that they said she might be slated for UFC 200, but really, I just don't. I've seen lots of pictures of her hanging out and chilling. To me, I think right now she's just playing it cool, or maybe she's training, but her managers tell her, "Hey, just play it cool," because once Conor McGregor gets banged up, there's not gonna be any. It's like if he gets banged up, who else is gonna be a big draw? Okay, John Jones coming here too. That's gonna be a big draw. Okay, we got Rafael dos Anjos. He's a big draw. I like that division. That's gonna do good. Jose Aldo, Frankie Edgar. Yeah, that'll be sweet. That'll be a nice little draw. Jose Aldo, Chad Menendez. That's gonna be a nice draw, because that division is not that deep, and I can tell you, it doesn't seem like Conor McGregor is ever gonna go back down to that division. Honestly, I don't think he can make the weight. I just don't think he can make the weight. Because reason why I don't think he can make the weight is because for the rematch, he wanted the rematch weight to be at 155 and not the 170 before. Because the rematch was at 155. Going from 155 down is much easier than going from 170 down. You see what I'm saying? It becomes more dangerous when you're going from 170 down rather than when you're going from 155 down, because you have time to do it gradually and safely. So I don't think he's ever going to be able to make that weight safely. Or if he does, he's going to have to stretch. It's going to be a while before he actually comes down to defend that title. So he's probably going to wind up just losing the title based off the non-defense. Because once the interim title is done, he'll have no choice but to come down. And I don't think he'll have the, in 3 to 4 months, you're not going to just drop a whole 40, 50 pounds like that. You're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to just drop a whole 35 pounds, just boom, straight out the gate like that. Now, you saw him to that at 5,000, right? He dropped 40 pounds for the fight with Kimbo Slice. Had kidney failure. What's that? Heart failure. Was in the hospital several months. Not several months, several weeks, I should say, not months. Sorry about that. I'm just, thinking about the time it's going to take to drop the weight. So you need several months to safely drop weight. So I don't see Conor McGregor coming back to defend the title anytime soon. So the big draws to me, and now, pardon my accent because I said the word draws, not underwear. The big draw, I should say, to me is, let me pull in my driveway. Yep, I'm here safely. The big draw to me, in my opinion, it's not going to be Rashad Evans. It's going to be the comeback kid, John Jones, his next fight after Cormier, that's gonna be where the big draw is. What the UFC is gonna have to start doing, because the pressure is so high, is stacking the cards to make it so irresistible. You have to buy. They gotta do that. They have to stack the cards like that. I mean, stack them really, really good, really, really good. Because I just don't see. And maybe it's just me, but I just don't see after UFC 200. What's next? What other combination you have to offer? So it's almost like the divisions aren't deep enough, and you don't have enough fighters, or you're not giving enough people an opportunity to get out there and fight in front of the cameras. You only have stars, and then you bring people up for the stars to beat up. So it's almost like the divisions aren't deep enough. So what the UFC need to do, in my mind, is work with other organizations. Work with other organizations. You can bring fighters in from other organizations to fight. It's a 1 fight contract or a 2 fight contract. Pay them well and let them go about their business. But when you get that business where you're locking down fighters exclusively and that type of stuff, well, you create a very small stable. And also in that situation, nobody want to work with you if they know they're going to be forced into a bad situation. So you're making stuff worse for yourself. So I'm trying to figure out what's the next move. The UFC is going to have to start working with other organizations, other small organizations going to have to feed into UFC main events, and they may have to start subcontracting out some and bringing in some more talent. Because the talent pool in the UFC is very deep, but they're just not giving people an opportunity, and they're not working with other organizations to get the bandwidth wider. Meanwhile, Bellator is just absorbing up everybody. It's like the UFC right now. I just see them just running, running, running. I don't know how they're gonna be able to pull this off, but I'm still watching to see what the next move is. But for right now, if I was Ronda Rousey and I know all this is going on, I would just straight up chill. And then when it's time to renegotiate based on the facts that, hey, things are going down, that much time to develop hot stars, Conor McGregor is overworked and banged up, renegotiation time. Time to pay up, buddy. Then you get more money. Then you ask for a higher percentage. Then you ask for more money out of your royalties, and you get some leverage, and you free up your contract. That's what I would do if I was Ronda Rousey. Losing the title was the best thing that ever happened to her. And then Holly Holmes immediately losing the title was the next major best thing that ever happened to her. Because if that title just keep changing hands so fast, there's no time for the fans to warm up to the title holder and say, oh, I like this person, I like that person. So because of that inconsistent, constant changing of hands of the titles, you don't have time to like a fighter or admire a fighter and be drawn to that fighter and become a hardcore fan where you'd buy a ticket, you'd buy a card if they were on it. Nah. But Ronda Rousey, the fans have had time to like her, admire her, respect her, and say, yeah, Ronda Rousey's fight. Oh, I'm buying that. Who's Misha Tate? Who's that? Who's Holly Holmes? Who are those people? Holly Holmes was what girl? Yeah, she did a good job. I'll think about it. Ronda Rousey's fighting, bigger name, bigger draw. We've not had the chance to see the type of draw that Holly Holmes can bring in. So it's kind of like, well, do I want to go with a new face and promote that new face, and I have the opportunity to see how much revenue that new face can bring in, or do I want to go knowing that I'm spending millions of dollars on MGM and pay-per-view and payouts? Do I want to go with the breadwinner, the sure money? Now, I'm not a gambling man, but usually people go with the sure money, and that's why Dana White was upset that Holly Holm didn't wait to give Ronda Rousey the rematch. But everything is working in Ronda Rousey's favor. All she got to do is relax. She's in a prime spot. Woo! She's sitting good. Same thing with Jose Aldo and Frankie Edgar. Those two, they're in a sweet spot. They're going to be able to renegotiate. They're going to be able to come back to the table and get more money now. So losing sometimes is not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes when you lose, somebody else get the title or the belt, the promotion gets the opportunity to say, hey, you know what, this guy was a big draw. Like, why did we should have paid him more. We should have done this, we should have done that. Then when you come back, you can renegotiate for more. Like Anderson Silva, Dana White took him to dinner and cut him a check for offered him $6 or $7 million to come back, and then now every fight he does, he gets pay-per-view money. Plus, I think Anderson Silva, he's like averaging somewhere in the 7 to 6 million a fight now, and that was after he lost the title. You know why? Chris Weidman, I love you. You're my hero. I met you on the elevator. You are my nicest guy ever. But Chris Weidman, he doesn't do all that. He is a technical, aggressive fighter, but his charisma is a different type of charisma. You know, he has been. He's not one of those guys that's. It's hard to explain. You either like him or you don't. Straight up. But Anderson Silva, oh, it's the Silva, it's the legend, it's the this, it's the that. Anderson Silva is like have the mythical, legendary mystique about him that everybody recognize and know. But Chris Weidman is like a regular guy who's a champ, likable. That's different, you know. That's kind of different. What I'm trying to say is that Anderson Silva is a bigger draw than Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman, nonetheless, is a draw. And Luke Rockhold has the belt. Now we're going to see how, as time goes by, how much of a draw that he is. But in the interest of the UFC, they got to get the belt in somebody's hands who's gonna market, who's gonna hype themselves up, who's gonna be exciting, who's gonna get the fans riled up, who's gonna motivate you to go out and buy the pay-per-view. So I am feeling at some point they're gonna give Anderson Silva a title shot. Either that, or if they don't give him a title shot, they're gonna try and use him to set up other fights towards some young star they're trying to bring up to give a title shot. But they have to use Anderson Silva internationally in other markets in an instrumental way to bring the pay-per-view buys in, to drum up interest and to penetrate other markets like in Europe, like he fought Bisping in London. He's gonna go to his. They gotta do that. They gotta use him in international markets where he's well known, and they gotta use him over here local. They gotta put him so they have to get as much use out of him as possible because with combining the people, the mass appeal. So let's say I'm putting on a show. I know there are cat lovers and dog lovers and bird lovers, right? If I put a cat in the show, cat lovers are going to watch, but I'm going to lose the dog lovers and the bird lovers. If I put a cat, a dog, and a bird in the show, I'm going to capture all three segments of that audience. Well, the same thing the UFC is doing. They know that Anderson Silva is a good draw, so they're going to put him on the card. They know Ronda Rousey is a good draw. They're going to try and put her on the card. They know Conor McGregor is a good draw. They're going to try and put him on the card. They know Nate Diaz is starting to be a good draw. They're going to put him on the card. They know Daniel Cormier is a good... they know John Jones is a good draw. They're going to put him on the card. They know that Rafael Dos Anjos is a good draw. They're going to put him on the card. So by stacking the card like that, the fans are always going to get somebody that they like. But the problem with stacking the cards like that is if all the guys fight in October and get banged up by November, you have to scramble to put that card together and you're going to have injuries. So it's almost impossible to put all those same people on the same card. So UFC 200 is taking a major risk. Because when all those guys get banged up, the next card is going to be like, well, who do we have to put on the next card? Holy crap, holy. We just used up our best guys on this one card. You got to space the cards out. So that's what I'm thinking about. So Ronda Rousey in her spot, she's sitting good. Losing is not necessarily a bad thing because now she has the opportunity to say, hey, if I come back, I'm bringing X amount of viewers back, X amount of buys, and you're going to be in a decline after all your stars get banged up. So here's how much more I want. So sometimes losing is a good thing because you get to sit back, you get to work on your skills, and you get to come back and you can possibly get more money. So I'm all for that, man. So Ronda Rousey, you're in a good spot. All right, peace out from the Fight Mobile. I'm gonna go on here and get some lunch, man. All right.